My mum Lois lived alone and she was very capable. At that age she was 93. She walked to the shops, she drove, but her capabilities declined slowly. She fell over and broke her shoulder, and that's when things started to go downhill because she went into hospital. She was in hospital for a while, and when she came out, she definitely had a little bit more limited capabilities. But she was very convinced she wanted to stay at home. And we did what we could to make that happen, and things were okay for a while. She then had a skin cancer on her leg, and that put her in hospital again, and care was discussed, and very much she was not keen in any way, shape or form to be moved out of her own home. And a little bit later, she had a hip operation, she was in hospital, she was receiving rehab, again very reluctant to do what she was told by the doctors and the physios. And the doctor actually said to me, I'm going to tell your mum that she can't go home because she actually can't walk. Can you please try and find Lois some care? And that was really heartbreaking for me, but it couldn't come from me because she would have hated me to say that to her. But it was so much easier that it came from a medical professional than from her own daughter. And I looked around maybe 15 facilities, and then I came to Nagul and they showed me the room. And firstly, I looked at the room and it was sunny and it had a balcony and it had its own bathroom and it was a single room. And I thought, you know, she could be happy here. I think there's a good chance she'll be happy. She moved in and she didn't seem as unhappy as I expected in the first week. She was a bit quiet. I think at the end of it, she thought once she got better and once she could walk, she would go home. And I didn't bring the next seasons of clothes up because she said, I'm not going to be here in winter, surely. Mum was always thinking she was going to die in the next year. So if I were to say, I'll buy you a new top, she'll say, oh, I've probably only got a few more months. So, or if I were to say, I'll get some tickets to a show in October, she'll say, well, I probably won't be here in October. But I have to say, she hasn't been talking like that since she's been living here because I do think she's living such a good version of herself. She's not actually thinking about the end anymore. She's actually enjoying her time at the moment. She insisted on wearing high heels, small high heels, but she didn't want to wear joggers like most people would be happy to do. And the staff here said, look, we know that's important to her. We're not going to force that rule on her. She insists on carrying her handbag everywhere. She can't be more than a metre away from the handbag. And the staff will say, Lois, don't forget your handbag. They don't want to upset her. They know that that will be upsetting for her if she doesn't have her handbag with her, which is so caring. One night, I got a text from the registered nurse and she said, the lady Lois has dinner with has sprinkles on her ice cream that her family had brought up. And would you mind bringing up some sprinkles when you can? Because Lois would like to be the same as her friend. And I thought, I can't believe the registered nurse, who probably has a million other things to do, would take the time to notice that my mum wanted sprinkles and to let me know. I just thought that was really thoughtful and just like individual, looking at her likes and really catering to her own needs. It's made a big difference. The staff alerted her to the activities, but they didn't force her to do anything. They told her what was on offer and they said, Lois, we'd like you to do this, but they didn't make her do anything and they continued trying. And eventually they would ring me and say, Kathy, your mum's gone to crossword. And I'd be saying, that's amazing. I can't believe she did that. Like, I'm so happy. And they'd say, we just thought you'd like to know, which is really nice for me to be told that. And they knew that was important to me. And when I was told that she did 62 activities in a month, I was just so happy that to know that she was capable of that and that she's changed from being somebody who didn't enjoy that to somebody who can get involved and fill her days with things she likes. There's a lot of people here, similar age to her and similar interests. They do the activities together, they eat together, and it's really just brought a feeling of community to her that she missed because Mum's not young and all her friends have passed away. All her family's passed away. While she relied on my visits and the kids, it's not quite the same as having a friend your age who can remember those movies or those things that happened like in the war or whatever. They're not embarrassed about, I can't do this exercise, or maybe my ball went out in the lawn bowls. It doesn't matter. If I go to visit her, I generally ring up first because she's normally occupied. She might be doing dominoes, bingo, crosswords, they do circus skills, lawn bowls, and she chooses not to leave the activity because I'm there, because she actually enjoys it. And they will just say, Kathy, why don't you sit in? And I think, wow, if she's choosing an activity, that's amazing, that's so good. Like, that makes me realise she's happy. The people who see her, relatives, they say she's laughing a lot more than she used to. She's just a happier person. Because she's busy here, and at home she was bored. She didn't have enough to keep her occupied. Her mind needs to be occupied 24/7, and here there's always something to do. And then she just started to make a few comments that made me realise she does feel like this is home. I think she said, remember I used to have a place at Janelli. And then I realised she said used to have a place at Janelli, so she actually realises this is her home and she doesn't seem at all upset about that. When Mum was living by herself at home, she was insistent on doing everything that was required to maintain the home, but that was getting increasingly difficult. And when I visited her, there was often a few issues which had to be resolved, and she wasn't really happy with me taking over, I suppose. She thought I was bossing her around. And so every time I visited her, it was, to be honest, like a bit stressful, because I was probably going to upset her in some way, and she felt like she wasn't in control. And I would leave feeling annoyed, upset. And increasingly those visits weren't enjoyable, to be honest. But when I visit her now, I just sit and have a cup of tea with her, and we just talk about rubbish and family and what I've been doing, what the kids have been doing, and what she's been doing, and I don't have to worry. Everything, those other worries are taken out of my hands, and they're not mine anymore, and I can just enjoy being with her. So Mum's been in Nagle for a year now, and people notice the difference in me. My husband says, you're a different person to you were a year ago. A year ago, I was always stressing, and I was coming home to him and saying, oh, Mum's done this, I'm worried about Mum, and now I don't have that anymore. I don't have those worries anymore. And my family and friends have definitely said, you're back to the old you.